So today we are going to be looking at binomial expansion. And we have a question. Expand and simplify each of the binomial expressions. Part A minus b to power 6. And part B, we have 1 minus 2x to power 4. So we are going to start with part A. We have to expand a minus b to power 6. So first we begin by expanding what we have inside the brackets. So we have the first term. We take the first term and write it a. And we have the second term, which is minus b. Because of the negative, the second term is going to be minus b. So that's the first step you need to understand. We have the first term, which is a, and the second term here, which is minus b, because this is a negative. If it will be positive, it will be only b. But since we have a negative, we also take the negative as part of the second term. So it's going to be minus b. So the first term, write it with the first power, which is 6. The power which we have here, which is 6. And then we leave a gap, write this first term still, and then to the term that is there, you minus 1, you remain with 5. So it's supposed to be decreasing. You're going to write the third, and then the power 5 minus 1 is 4. And then you continue. We have a 4 minus 1 gives us 3, so the power is 3 there. And then we have a 3 minus 1 is 2. And then we have a 2 minus 1 gives us 1. And then finally we have a 1 minus 1 gives us 0. So you begin by writing the power that is there on the first term, a to power 6. And then you minus 1. You keep minusing 1 until you get a 0. Until you get to power 0. So we have a to power 0 at the end. So it is decreasing. And then the next step that we do, we go to the second term. The second term is minus b. So you put a bracket because of the negative. Minus b. And on the minus b, we start by 0. The second term you start by 0. The first term you start by the term that is there, the power that you are given. But for the second term, you start with power 0. So we have power 0. This one, you need to understand that the second term is increasing. So we'll be adding 1. This one is different from the first term. From the first term, we were subtracting 1. Here we are going to be adding 1. So we have minus b. 0 plus 1 is 1. And then we have minus b. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then we have minus b. 2 plus 1 is 3. Minus b. 3 plus 1 is 4. Minus b. 4 plus 1 is 5. Minus b. 5 plus 1 is 6. And then finally, we go for the coefficient. So you are going to look in your log table, and in your log table you will find the Pascal's triangle. The Pascal's triangle. I explained it in my previous video. So you are going to find the Pascal's triangle and look for the coefficient of power 6. The coefficients of power 6. We have 1, 6. So as we progress, 1, 6, 15, 20, 15, 6, and then 1. So when you look in the Pascal's triangle, you realize those are the coefficients of 6, of the power 6. So you are going to write those coefficients in their order. So the first one is 1. You write it in the first one. The second one is 6. The third one is 15. The fourth one is 20. The fifth one is 15. The sixth one is 6. The seventh one is 1. So you write those coefficients in the same order. And afterwards, after doing this, you now add all of them. You add all of them. So this is what we have. This is a minus b to power 6. So we are going to simplify now what we have on the right hand side of the equal sign. So we are going to simplify this. We have 1 here, a to power 6, and minus b to power 0. So first of all, you need to understand that any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. Any number raised to the power 0 is 1. So it will always give you 1. Any number raised to the power of 0 will always give you 1. And then we come to simplify. You will realize that we have minus b to power 0. So minus b to power 0 is 1. So we'll have 1 multiplied by a to power 6 multiplied by 1, which will remain with, let me just write it first, 1 multiplied by a to power 6 multiplied by 1. And then plus, we have 6 multiplied by a to power 5, and then minus b to power 1. Minus b to power 1 is what? When we take negative number raised to power 1, it will remain the same number. Any number raised to power 1 will remain the same number. So we'll have minus b here. And then plus. We have 15 here, a to power 4. And we have finally minus b squared. Minus b squared. What does minus b squared give us? Minus b squared, it is the same as minus b multiplied by minus b. Negative and negative gives us a positive. So you need to understand that this, when the power is even, we'll have a positive number. So we'll have b squared, because minus b times minus b will be b squared. Then we add the next one, 20 multiplied by a cubed multiplied by minus b cubed. That is the same as minus b multiplied by minus b multiplied by minus b. Minus b times minus b will give us a positive b. Multiplied by the negative b, this one will now be equal to minus b cubed. This one is b squared. This one will be minus b cubed. So we have a negative. So you need to understand that this one will be minus b cubed. And then you move to the next one. Plus 15 multiplied by a squared multiplied by minus b to power 4. I told you that when you get an even power, the negative sign will become positive. So this one will become positive. We'll have positive b to power 4. Because when you multiply negative b multiplied by negative b multiplied by negative b multiplied by negative b. Negative and negative is positive, and this other negative and negative is positive. So you'll have a negative times negative is positive. So this will be positive b squared multiplied by positive b squared, which will be positive b to power 4. And then we have 6 a to power 1, and then we have minus b to power 5. We said when the power is odd, it will remain negative. So this one then finally we have 1 multiplied by a to the power 0 multiplied by negative b to the power 6, and the power is positive, so that one will become positive because the power is even. And then we simplify this. 1 multiplied by a to the power 6 multiplied by 1, it is a to the power 6, plus 6 multiplied by a to the power 5 multiplied by negative b. This one will now be negative 6 a to the power 5 b. And then we have plus 15 a to the power 4 b squared, plus we have 20 a cubed negative b cubed. This is negative, this one will be negative, so the negative we can write it as a front. And then we have plus 15 a squared, and then b to the power 4, plus 6 multiplied by a to the power 1 times minus b to the power 5. This minus we can write it as a front. So we have minus 5 minus 6 a to the power 1 b to the power 5. And then finally we have plus 1 multiplied by a to the power 0, which is 1 multiplied by b to the power 6. So we have b to the power 6. So the minus, the positive and the minus, they become negative. So we have a to the power 6 minus 6 a to the power 5b plus 15 a to the power 4b squared minus 20 a cubed b cubed plus 15 a squared b to the power 4 minus 6 a b to the power 5 plus b to the power 6. And that's the final answer. So you need to understand that the first step you take, the first term, write the power, and then the second term, you take it, the second term which is negative b, and then write the power 0. So the second term keeps increasing. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When the first term decreases to 0, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then you write the coefficients on the Pascal's triangle. You had 1, 6, 15, 20, 15, 6, 1. And then you add all of them. So you add all of them. And then you simplify. You get your final answer.